I'm Nathan Henry, a young inspiring politician, here to interview Vivek Ramaswamy with a list of questions.
It's good to see you, man.
I've been to a couple of your meetups. I've been the one in Keosauqua, been to the one in Tumwa, and now here recently at Fairfield. And your words have just inspired me as someone who wants to get into politics and eventually become the president. So I have a list of questions that I know people around my age group, demographic, Gen Z, would most likely ask you. My first question will be, what will you do about social media censorship?
Well, look, I think that much of the censorship isn't by social media companies. It's actually by government, using social media companies to do through the back door what government couldn't get done through the front door under the Constitution. That's wrong. That's illegal behavior, and we're going to put an end to it. And so if it is state action in disguise, right, if the government's threatening a company to censor something that the government couldn't censor directly, then that's an illegal behavior by the government itself. So we're going to bring transparency to that. We're going to publish that for the public to see. And then we're going to hold the bad actors in the government who are trying to achieve that censorship through the back door. We're going to hold them accountable under the law. And that's how we stand for true free speech and open expression in this country.
All right. And then another question that has been here and there, but it's a big concerning question for kids my age because we've been told many times that the Earth's going to be turned over. The Earth's climate change has been changing for millions of years. What do you think about the liberals' current policy on climate change?
I think they're nuts, actually. I think that more people are dying of bad climate change policies right now than are dying of climate change itself. Are global surface temperatures going up a little bit? It appears they are. But is that existential for humanity? No, it's not. To the contrary, what actually helps human beings live more prosperous and flourishing lives is using more oil and natural gas and all forms of energy, ethanol to coal to nuclear energy. We should embrace all forms of energy, especially in the United States. Domestic energy production and domestic energy strength is part of our national security. It's also part of how we fight inflation and grow this economy. So I'm declaring independence from this climate cult. We're done with it. And I think what we're going to do on my watch is to actually make sure that we are, again, dominant in exporting energy. That's when the United States is strongest at home. Declare independence from this climate cult that really has nothing to do with the climate. It's more about letting China catch up to the United States. That ends on my watch.
A lot more relieving for kids my age knowing we're
Yes.
not going to have another ice age or Southeast Iowa is going to have a beachfront here in the next 25 years.
I mean, the histrionics around this issue are ridiculous. And so I think that people need to focus more on what advances human prosperity, human health, wealth creation for Americans. That's what I'm focused on, not measuring some arbitrary metric of carbon emissions. We're done with that.
Another question, partaking with the American dollar. Digital currency has been growing at a rapid speed. What do you think about digital currency and how it's going to affect the U.S. economy?
Well, I think I want to draw a distinction between decentralized options like Bitcoin that are decentralized and not government controlled, and that's a good thing. That brings more competition to the system, versus a central bank digital currency, which I'm dead set against. That's what allows the government to control your dollar digitally, to wipe out your bank account if you say something that the government doesn't approve of. That's not right. That has to change. That we're heading in that direction. It's not happened yet, but we're taking some steps to go in that direction. That would end on my watch. I think that a lot of the freedoms that we enjoy them because of decentralized ability to hold our money. And what you see in places like China is if people do something the government doesn't like, they'll wipe your bank account clean. We don't want that in the United States. In fact, that's what they did to the truckers in Canada, who actually stood up against the vaccine mandates and otherwise. We have to stand against that, and I think that's how we're going to protect freedom in this country. Thank you.
Good to know my dollar is still worth $1.
It is,
you
exactly.
in office.
And I would actually peg the dollar to a basket of commodities, gold, silver, nickel. That's what we got to do to actually restore the value of the dollar.
Another concerning question that comes to the American people. Our borders have been wide open. Will you take any actions to secure our nation's borders?
Yes, I will. I'm going to use our own military to secure our own southern border and our northern border too. We'll use aquatic barriers in the Rio Grande. We will make sure we're not funding sanctuary cities in this country that create the incentives to be here illegally. We're going to make sure that we don't use our own money to prop up Central American countries that aren't doing enough to stop their part of the border crisis. And I go a little further than some Republicans here, but I think it's the right thing to do. We will end birthright citizenship for the kids of illegal migrants. It was never supposed to apply to them. That'll end on my watch. Thank you.
Of course. Once again, I'm Nathan Henry, a young inspiring politician, here with future presidential candidate Vivek.
It's good to see you. Proud of you, man. Keep up the good work, and one day you're going to lead this country, and I'm sure with your passion, you're going to do great things.
When you get in the Oval Office, I'll tell you what, I want to get renovated before I get there.
That's good. That's good. I like that. I like that.